Alright, this is my second attempt at this video. I said something I wasn't supposed to say, and I knew it was gonna get flagged if I said it. Okay, so um, a lot of people who knew me and knew me recently before I have changed, and you're gonna see how. Uh, y'all was smoking weed with me, drinking. Some of y'all see me at my worst. Um, some of y'all know about some of the things that happened to me, some of the things I've done. Yeah, I know where I've been. Some of y'all know I've deployed to Syria. Um, I was not a believer then until recently, very recently. So I started reading the Bible, started getting into it. Just recently finished a 4-day fast, and a lot of my prayers have been answered. Uh, I used to not believe in this book at all. I used to make fun of it. I used to cast judgment on it. I used to say it was ridiculous, and I used to make fun of Christians, and now I'm a devoted Christian myself. I just finished a 4-day fast. I would have never thought I would have done that before. So, the reason why I'm making this video is because something just came up. I've been praying. I've been asking God to give me answers and answer these questions. Give me comprehension and understanding. Um, Comprehension, understanding what I'm reading in this book. And I'm getting comprehension and understanding outside of what I read. Um, so some of y'all know I got a vasectomy done, and I was praying to God, like, am I still good? Am I still accepted because I got this vasectomy done? And what he told me, I know when y'all say like, oh, he told you, how was he talking to you? Because I get these thoughts in my head out of nowhere. I get these thoughts where everything clicks. That's him. That's him speaking. Sometimes it's the devil getting in your head, making you feel worthless and all this other stuff. But this was him. Because it's been back to back. I've been feeling I can't sleep. I'm up. I gotta be up at 5 in the morning, and it's 11:27 right now because I can't sleep because he just keep hitting me back to back. I've been praying for a long time. I've been praying even when I didn't believe, when I was at my lowest. And as it says, you find strength in your weakness. I was weak, and people know what I'm. Whoever follow me know what I mean. They know what I mean, man. When I was in the Marine Corps, and I had no faith, but I was so low. I was won't allow myself. I was so low that I prayed. I just started praying. And even then, I didn't believe, but I prayed. And I've been praying for this for years, and it's finally coming to me because I wasn't ready to receive it, but now I am. And I don't know where. It's just I don't know. Y'all don't understand. It's like overnight, so like I'm overwhelmed by the knowledge I've gotten. So, right, I got a vasectomy done, and I prayed. I went on a 4-day fast. I prayed for a lot of my friends and family, but this is one of the things I wanted to understand. I wanted to pray. The last day of my fast, I prayed about this, and I've been asking God after my fast. I've been praying about this. Am I still good after getting this vasectomy? Now, I'm about to say some controversial stuff for y'all who are Bible readers and Christ followers. Y'all probably understand what I'm saying. For y'all who don't read, y'all probably gonna skip this. Y'all gonna call me crazy. Y'all probably gonna think I'm weird. That's okay because it says in the Bible that that's gonna happen. Um, so I think God answered my questions. If I got a vasectomy, how am I showing that God is going to be faithful? No, sorry. If I had a vasectomy, how am I showing God that I'm faithful and trusting Him that He's going to provide for me and my children? I'm not. I'm so worried about the world around me. I fear this world and I fear this everything else more than I fear Him. I fear this world so much that I got a vasectomy because I feared that I wouldn't be able to provide for my wife and kids. I feared that I wouldn't, that my kid, I didn't want to bear any more kids into this evil world. The world is not evil, okay? People aren't even evil. It's sin that's evil. It's Satan that has a hold of a lot of people right now. And I know this sounds crazy. It's gonna sound crazy. I don't care, all right? I don't care. I'm going nuts. I'm already crazy in the spirit of God because I don't know. Don't I do you know? I do know. I prayed on it. Anyways, let me not before I go on an episode. So I prayed to God and I asked, and He told me that how do I have faith in Him if I can't even have faith in Him to provide for my wife and kids? As many kids I have, whether that be 4 or whether that be 12. I'm supposed to have faith in Him that He's going to provide me my daily bread. It says this in the script. And then, because He says you don't worry about next week. You don't worry about next month. You just worry about today. And that's what it says. Daily bread. I wasn't saved. I wasn't thinking about that. I was not thinking about that. Okay? I wasn't saved then. I got this done because I wasn't reading my book. I wasn't saved. I was saved to reading this book. So, and then it brings me to another thing of why God doesn't like contraceptives so much. Okay? He answered this. Because I was thinking, oh, is condoms bad? Really? Like, is it even that bad? You see, my Lino is pulling out bad, is wasting my seed bad. And I find out why. So, let's hold this. We refer to sperm as seed. Scientifically, we're talking about this. This is not, this. So, scientifically, we say that men carry seed, right? In the Bible, it says, a man of God, a good man of God, follow the word, bear good fruit. I had a bunch of people. I had two of my best friends, John and Daniel. Sorry, John and Daniel both told me. John told me a couple times before, since he's my best friend. He told me a couple times for my friendship, you bear good fruit, brother. You bear good fruit. I didn't understand what that meant. Just keep following. You bear good fruit, brother. He told me that recently, a couple days ago. Daniel tonight told me when I went out to eat with him. You bear good fruit, bro. You bear good fruit. God says, a man of God, right? Keep following. For y'all who read, keep following. For y'all who don't read, you're going to be confused. You don't know. That's okay. That's okay. It's not your fault. God says, a good man of God, bear good fruit. God also says, be fruitful and multiply. And y'all got to realize, vegetables don't have fruit. Or, sorry. Vegetables don't have fruit. I'm sorry. Long day. Vegetables don't have seeds. Fruit does. That's why that's why we refer to seed. Because if you're good fruit, you bear good seed. To what? To plant, to make more fruit. Being kids, right? Contraceptives. Why God don't like contraceptives? Condoms, Plan Bs, abortion. Getting there. So if you bear good fruit, you bear good fruit, be fruitful and multiply. Now, from the start of the Bible, from Genesis, and on, it's been a war against heaven and hell. Okay? There's a war against heaven and hell. It has always been that heaven has been outnumbered by Satan, right? We have more evil and more sin in the world than we do good, and we do Christians. Christians are being persecuted and killed and beheaded all around the world right now. They don't talk about it. That's not the conversation right now. So, damn, can I even say that? I don't even know. We just gonna post it. So what I found out was being fruitful, bearing good fruit, being fruitful, and multiplying. This is how we recruit people in the army of the Lord. Okay. Some of y'all will probably think it's what's the word? There's a word for it. Grooming. There it is. Some of y'all probably think it's grooming, but it's not. It's making sense to me now. We're supposed to have these kids. Reason why God hates contraceptives is because He adores children. Children are dear to him because it even says as adults we need to be children to him. We need to be as a child to a parent and be obedient. We need to be children to God. Okay, we need to be humble and be children to God. God holds children very dear, and this is why. Children are the freaking recruits to the army of the Lord. They're the recruits. Christians are always outnumbered. The word of God and Jesus is always outnumbered. So how do we do that? We bear good fruit. We have babies. We multiply. We teach them and preach to them the gospel so that way they can have kids. They multiply. They grow up. They teach them the gospel. And so on and so on. And the family tree spreads and it spreads. And now you're making more recruits. You're making more soldiers in the army of the Lord. So that way not only you're trying to convert other people who don't know, you have your own people. You up and raising your own little platoon, as you would, in God's army. Because we're always outnumbered. If you look at it like sin controls everything, man. Like I said, for y'all who don't read and y'all not religious or y'all not Christians, y'all not gonna get this. But for y'all who reading the book, follow me, man. And if y'all thinking if I'm not making any sense, please, please let me know. Like if y'all read something and if this is wrong, let me know. But this is what's just been hitting my head. This is the reason why God don't like contraceptives, because that is how we recruit. That's how we make more Christian God followers. That's how we save more people. We bring people into this life, we teach them, and then they go and teach. That's why he don't like contraceptives, because if you're stopping your seed, if you're bearing good fruit, and he says be fruitful and multiply, we are recruiting. That way we're making more in the army of the Lord. This is why contraceptives are so bad. It's not only because it's a lack of faith that God will provide you your daily bread. It's also stopping the numbers that we need to combat this war. It's been a war since the beginning of time, man. It's been a war since the beginning, bro. Since heaven and hell, it's been a war. And this is how we help recruit. Because this is why it says in the Bible that when Jesus come back, the people accepted into heaven are the few. And it's the few because why? It's prophesying that we going to be outnumbered. And we going to be outnumbered because of stuff like contraceptives out. It's not a whole bunch of non-believers, and it's a whole bunch of people who reject the word of God and don't believe in it. And it stops the flow of Christians. It stops the flow of people knowing about Jesus, man. That's why it all makes sense to some of y'all. Probably knew this. Some of y'all I didn't. Like I said, a couple weeks ago, I ain't believing that. It's like I want to say a couple weeks ago. It was like a couple months ago, man. Like I was smoking weed. I was using THC gummies. I was drinking. I like drinking heavy. I haven't been drinking heavy since the Marine Corps, but like I stopped all that just recently, man. I went on a 4-day fast. I had no idea I didn't think I would ever do that. A 4-day fast, man. And this is all the stuff, the information that's been coming to me. And now I can't sleep because I feel like I need to get this out. It all makes sense. I'm going to just go through it again. A God-fearing man, a good God and man, a man in God's faith, a faith of, you know what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I'm sleepy. A God-fearing man bears good fruit. One who follows the Bible, not just a God-fearing man. Because everybody say they God-fearing, but they're not God-fearing if they're not reading the Bible and trying to live by it. It's really not hard to live by, I promise. Half of us are already living by it. You're married, you got kids, you're faithful to your wife. Bro, it's not that hard to live by it. It's just the only part that's really hard about it, really, is preaching the gospel and passing it around, because we fear persecution of man more than we fear God. And that's where most of us get messed up on. And then some of us are false Christians. They leading people astray, and they say those Christians are worse than non-believers. Godly man bears good fruit. Be fruitful and multiply, because we need to recruit prayer warriors into the army of God, because we are vastly outnumbered. That's why God don't like contraceptives, because not only does it's anti-life, It's I know people say like, oh well, if somebody gets, you know, the R word, they should have the right to, you know, to get an abortion. It actually speaks about that stuff in the Bible. It talks about people getting SA'd in the Bible. It's crazy, you guys. Like everything that it, the Bible is timeless. It's timeless. If you read it, it applies to the 21st century. It's timeless, dude. It talks about everything. And this is why I believe in it. Because how could some old crickety dusty dude back in the day with some dry cracked up toes and some sandals eating on unseasoned raw fish, half cooked fish, and some bread, sipping on water, know about this stuff? And for some atheists, they say, oh, I believe that Jesus Christ was a man. I believe that Jesus Christ was real, but I don't believe that, just as it says in the Quran, they believe that Jesus was a prophet, but they didn't acknowledge his divineness. It's the same thing with atheists. An atheist will acknowledge that he was a prophet, he was a man, but they won't acknowledge that he was divine. So if that's the case for atheists, you acknowledge that Jesus Christ was a man. He was real. Okay? In Genesis, the prophets, if it's not Genesis, okay, maybe not Genesis, but in the early parts of the Bible, these prophets all speak of Jesus' coming. Okay? They knew about Jesus before Jesus was even here. They spoke about him. They spread the gospel about Jesus coming. John the Baptist was one of the well-known ones, the one that I remember, the only one I know by name right now, knew of Jesus before his coming. Okay? How did he know that Jesus was going to come before he even came? And if you're acknowledging that Jesus is real and he existed in the Bible, this guy that's supposed to be writing lies, okay, in the text, in the Bible, this guy that's supposed to be making stuff up that's not real, how could he make something up that's real? If you are an atheist and you acknowledge that Jesus Christ was real, and he was a prophet, or he was a man, a carpenter, whatever, if the history textbooks, because I watched world history, and also I had a history teacher talk to me about Jesus being real. So if you are willing to acknowledge that Jesus was a real live person who walked around and built fame back in the day, how else would he would have built fame, you guys? How else would he have built fame without Instagram, without television, without a news network, without social media, without a telephone? They got rocks and stones, my guy. Paper and probably I ain't got a feather and ink or tar, so I'm gonna bite my finger and write something. They don't have nothing. How did he get so famous? How did he get so famous to the point to where there is a book, there's a collection of books written about him, even in other religions acknowledge him? So you all acknowledge and say he's real. So how did more than one prophet, I only know John the Baptist right now, I'm still an early Christian, how did John the Baptist know of Jesus' coming before he came? He spoke about Jesus and said all of what he was going to do, and Jesus came and did it. And he got famous for it. That's how so many different religions and prophets know about him. Come on, guys. Like, come on. Like, it's crazy to me, I've had friends tell me, oh, I acknowledge Jesus was real. Okay, and now I'm reading this book. Bro, and stuff is making so much sense. I know it is a hard pill to swallow for me, for me being a new Christian. For them people who not following, I'm telling y'all, look. For those of you who have never been introduced to the Bible, okay, or never been introduced to Christianity, you grew up atheist, okay. Just like y'all say, don't knock drugs till you try them. I'm not saying all atheists like that, all right? Not all atheists like that. But I know some atheists who have told me, I'm not naming no names. I know some atheists who have told me, don't knock drugs till you try them, Tyler. Well, I'm telling y'all, don't knock Jesus till you try him. You say don't judge a book by its cover. How can you judge a book you've never read? Okay? And then you got people like me that didn't believe in this book, that was an unbeliever, and now I'm devoted to where I'm fasting once a month. 4-day fast I just recently finished. Because this book has opened my eyes so wide. I'm telling y'all, go read it. And if you're atheist, right? If you're an atheist and you don't believe, right? Okay, just grab a King James Version Bible and just read it like it's a book, like it's a storybook. Y'all like reading, people like reading, smut, and people like reading freaking, Lord of the Rings books and all that. Just treat it like one of those. Start at Genesis, just read it. Just read it. And if you have any questions, Google it, search it up. There is so much information online about this stuff. Nobody knows about it because they're not seeking the information. You have to seek it to find out. YouTube University, that's the thing too. YouTube it. If you don't understand it, somebody's going to break it down to you and they're going to understand. But I'm telling you, you can't talk crap about a book you never read. I was one of them. I talk crap about that book. I talked so much crap about that book until I opened it up. I'm telling y'all, dude. Alright, bro. I'm about to end this. I don't even know if I can post this. It's too long.